Well, in any case, as soon as I got on the ship, and this was just the rescue ship, they took us to the nearest ship that could apply, had some doctors on it, stuff like that, okay? It was the USS Acadia, which was a regular cruise ship in peacetime, but here it was being used as a hospital ship. They had doctors aboard and everything, and that's when they first started first aid on me, stitching everything. I had one stitch and cut that long from here. You can still see part of it, but it's all blue here. But from here to here was one stitch. I had 7 stitches in my forehead. I had stitches everywhere you can imagine. You know, I had a broken collarbone. Of course, they had to set that thing, and the different stuff that they had to do. To Oran, which was our main port, and that's where the hospitals were. So when I got to Oran, the first thing I'm doing is looking for a Navy hospital. They says, we don't need it. We got an Army burn unit. This guy just specializes in burns. He originated the pressure bandage technique of treating burns. I said, well, okay, whatever. I get in there. What they did is they said, all right, now we got to remove all this dead skin. Now you know how the skin comes off a cooked chicken? There's a little layer of fat or something underneath and it slides right off. It didn't even hurt. They went like this, threw it away like a lady's glove, both arms. My face had no skin on it because, see, this had clothes on and it cooked it. But my face didn't. All the skin was gone. They just put a heavy coat of Vaseline after they cleaned it. You know, they put a heavy coat of Vaseline on it, put a mask on it with a couple of eye holes and a nose hole, and in 7 days they took it off. I had new skin on my face. But this, they said, was going to take 30 days. So after they removed all the skin, just threw it away. They wrapped me up. Of course, they put alcohol on it, which, by the way, when they put alcohol on, I was burned on my chest and everything. I was burned all over. When they put alcohol on my chest, it was like diving in ice water. I almost passed out. It was such a sudden shock. If you ever dove into ice water, cold water spring, for instance, in a mountain spring. But anyway, that's what it was like. But anyway, they took all the skin off wherever it was. But they put a heavy coat of Vaseline on it, then wrapped me up in heavy muslin so that I laid like a mummy for 30 days, and I had a broken collarbone. Well, they wanted my collarbone to grow straight, so they stuck a brick under my 3 crushed vertebrae that they didn't know about. And I laid on that brick with nothing but a towel over it for 30 days without being fed. They fed me through a vein in my left arch of my foot. The only place I wasn't burned because I had shoes on. Okay, everything else was burned. I survived on that thing for 30 days. Towards the end, I suspected that they had put maggots in my thing because, when you have a cast on, it gets so it's loose after a while. And I could feel crawling stuff. They says, oh no, they said, that's just the effect you got of the healing, I think that they had put maggots in there to eat the dead skin, because they do things like that to clear up, infections. Anyway, after 30 days, they took the bandages off. I had all new baby skin, just like a baby, just all healed. I had webs, of course, between my fingers that were all the way out to here, but eventually they worked their way back, and I'm fine. The doctor come around and he said, now take a look around the room. He says, see those guys over there walking around like this? He says, they didn't exercise those fingers after they were burned. You have to keep moving. Get them working again. Okay? If you don't, they'll stiffen up, and you're going to do like that the rest of your life. I wrote a letter home. We had V-mails at the time. A V-mail was a sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, and you wrote a message on it, and then they photoed it. You took a picture of it, reduced it, and sent it overseas, and then blew it up and sent it wherever you want to mail it. Well, I could always draw. I was very good. I could write anything. And my parents were home knowing that the ship went down. My father, being an old Italian, says if the captain, because he heard the announcement when the ship went down, the captain went down with the ship, he thought everybody's gone. If the captain's gone, they're all gone. They didn't hear any word from me, whatever. They were having a wake for me. So I put my hands were still sticky from being all that being removed. I put my arm like this so that I wouldn't damage the one I was writing on, and I wrote on the other one and sent them. So that was their first indication I wasn't blind and I wasn't dead. But anyway, let's see here. Well, yeah, here I'm laying on this brick for 30 days. Believe me, I thought about the Princess and the Pea. You know, 4 mattresses, 6 mattresses, and she could still feel the pea. Well, here I'm laying on a brick, and this is a regular red brick, 2 by 4 by 8, and nothing but a towel over that thing. They fed me there, and I lost a couple of pounds during that time. First of all, from the skin they took off and everything else, but I got that all back up in a matter of days. I always had a good appetite, and you know, I was okay. But now they got to send me back to the United States, to another hospital, and they put us on a ship that was converted from a hospital ship, from a regular cruise ship to a hospital ship. And they didn't have much hospital stuff on it, but they took us across. It was the USS Samuel Chase, and they dropped me off in New York City. And there I went to a hospital called St. Albans Hospital. This hospital had a circular corridor about a half a mile around, and the wards stuck out like wings, you know, like spokes. At one point, instead of a ward, was the mess hall. The mess hall was huge. Do you want me to stop for a minute? No. The mess hall was huge, but it took place right coming off that same corridor. Well, here it was Thanksgiving Day. So the Navy, whenever I have a holiday like that, they have a real banquet. But this thing is a quarter of a mile around, and it was like 1,000 people in line, and I got in the line, and it wasn't moving. Well, my back had been injured and I didn't know it, but I just sat against the wall and just waited. After a while, the line would move. I had to get up, and the line wouldn't move. And I'd sit down. Finally, I said, I'm going downstairs to read a magazine or something, and I did that for a couple of times and come back up. Every time I come up, there were still 500 people in line, so it just took forever. I finally get back up, and I figure I better get in line now, or else I'm not going to get to eat. They come out of the mess hall. They say, sorry, folks, there's no more food. There's like 500 people still in line. There was no more food. I said, what do you mean? You got no platters? They said, there's not a cracker. You're just not going to eat. That's all. It's Thanksgiving Day. I have no money, no clothes except a blouse with an open end so my ass can stick out. All this, and I can't eat on Thanksgiving Day. So Monday comes around. I went to bed hungry. Monday comes around. Doctor comes around for bed check. Anybody got any complaints, any problems we don't know about? And I told him about it. He says, whoa, he says, let's x-ray your back. They x-rayed my back. He come back in the morning, he says, you got 3 crushed vertebrae, first, second, and third lumbar vertebrae. They've healed on their own, but they're way out of line. But they said, if we fool with them, we could paralyze you. So you're going to have to live with it. They said, but from now on, you don't get in any more lines. Your meal would be brought to your bed. We don't care if you play football in between. So, but that's as long as I was there. Well, I was there another 2 weeks or so, and then they transferred me to the Philadelphia Naval Hospital. Gave me a 30-day transfer leave. In other words, I leave now, I have to show up in Philadelphia in 30 days. In the meantime, I can go home. So that's what I did.